Hello everybody and welcome back to Time Attack. We're now going to get our final session of the day underway. The final session awarding the most points. So qualifying awarding some points, and the final is the one that really pays those big dividends. Warm up and practice, if you've been following with us all day, you will know that those don't award any points. The real points come now. So, let's take a look at the form book then so far. And we've had David Dyson, very quick. Chris Butcher, very quick. Adrian Keim. I mean, it's kind of the usual suspects, really. They've been very quick all day. And I believe David Dyson was actually the fastest in qualifying. And he'll be keen to repeat that feat here in the final day. It's been a long journey today. We've had Time Attack, we've had the Meltec Sports Civic Cup, we've had all kinds of shenanigans and ups and downs, Tunerfest North, all that good stuff. Time Attack, run what you brung, and now then is the real crescendo, the climax of the day, the final, the Time Attack final. And this is the one that awards those big championship points. On your screen then you can see the machine of Tom Moon, the Aggravation Racing Subaru Impreza wagon. It's been a while since we've seen a wagon in Time Attack as a full entry, but here we go. Tom Moon then representing in Time Attack for a full season. And of course today in the club session we do also have Andy Stockton making a return as a single round entry in that Vauxhall Astra estate. But nonetheless, as a station wagon, an estate car is always a welcome sight here in Time Attack. So our drivers then just making their way around the track, getting their outlaps done. And actually, you can feel the temperatures dropping a little bit as the day progresses. Luckily for the drivers, the conditions have been consistent pretty much throughout the whole day. So at least our drivers do know what they're dealing with. Meanwhile, just let's take a look at some of the comments. Thank you, those of you who are watching along on the stream. Please get involved in the feed. Send me your comments. Send me your questions. I will do my best to field those. And I can see already a few of you getting stuck in. And we got Emma Young saying, good luck, Eden Young, Gizfab. Again, the Gizfab Barmy Army strikes again all over these comment sections. Be interesting to see which driver gets the most comments here today. Suspect it could well be Eden Young of Gizfab. Michael Guimbra saying, shame there's no public access to the pits. Sadly not these days, not with coronavirus. It used to be the way back in the day, in those rosy yesteryear of 2019 and beyond, but sadly for the past little while we've not been able to mingle the public and the paddock. Ben Neil Robinson saying, looking forward to the Club Pro final, that Noble looks great. Ben Neil Robinson there, slightly biased as he is the one driving that Noble. Anyway, thank you to everyone getting involved. Let's have a look. Michael Birch then in that Teguer Racing Honda Civic ahead of the other Honda-powered machine, the car of Team Confusion. This Ford Fusion being driven by Paul Waddington. The number 99 machine, which was involved in a pretty hefty shunt last time out, but you can see the team has really pulled together and pulled off an incredible feat, really, to reshell this car with that same engine and build it to that same spec. You can see those chunky tires on that Ford Fusion. Very, very quick indeed, and the team having turned around a phenomenal project to reshell that car for today's outing at Alton Park. Massive, massive kudos to them, and really they are just living that Time Attack spirit in burning the midnight oil just to build that dream. And here they are coming back to Alton Park with that Ford Fusion, powered no less by a Honda K20. Paul Waddington then going fastest of all so far with a 138.9, ahead of Michael Birch in that Honda Civic with a 139.0. So those two Honda-powered machines right at the sharp end of the timing screen. Of course, our drivers are only beginning to warm themselves up. They've got their out lap out of the way. I think they're just putting in really their first timed laps. And it's going to take a few laps for these drivers to switch on their tires, to switch on their brakes, and just get their brains back up to speed. They've got to switch on their brains as well, as I'm sure those of you who've done track driving will know. Headlights on for a lot of these cars then to signal the fact that they are on a flying lap. I think we're going to see a lot of that in this session. We've got 20 minutes. In fact, we're now down to 15 only, and this is what everything has been building up to. So, we are going to see our drivers probably not wasting too much time on cool-down laps. They are going to be going full send for most of the session. Let's ride along with these two drivers then, Tom Moon and Tim Bedford in that Mazda RX-8. We saw Tim Bedford getting very sideways coming out of there, coming out of Island Bend, a corner that has caught out so many drivers today. It does so every time we come to Time Attack. And it's all due to that crazy kind of uneven, fast nature. There we go, Tim Bedford getting very sideways again, but excelling at car control as he does. I've never seen Tim Bedford put a foot wrong, whether that was last year, previous years in his Super Impreza, or this year in that Mazda RX-8. An absolute car control specialist and really relishing when you put a little bit of slip into the situation. And if it were to happen anywhere, it's probably here at Alton Park. Very fast circuit, but like we were just saying, it's got these crazy undulations throughout the track. So it looks pretty simple, but you can see now coming up and over Deer Leap. Deer Leap, named as such because it's just like a massive jump like that a deer would do. This track is just full of ups and downs, these funny little crests, these little kinks in the track. Really tricky circuit to pull together. And we saw Susie speaking a little bit earlier to Chris Atkins, I think it was, in the Driveway Motorsport machine, or no, I think it was Michael Cube. Anyway, she was speaking to somebody. It was their first time at Alton Park. She asked them, how have you found it? And he said, fast. It's fast. It is fast. It is scary. You've got your foot flat for a big chunk of the lap, and you're just holding on for dear life as you're trying to just thread your car through this very narrow, fast, twitchy, up and down, over crest circuit. Really tricky one to pull together. Here we go then. Here's Eden Young in the K11 GizFab Micra, throwing it into Island with gusto. There we go then. Bit of smoke coming out of that exhaust, so I do wonder what's going on there, but he tackles Island Bend with absolute commitment. You can see those headlights are on. He is not hanging out. He is not hanging around. He is here to do the best lap time he can. I know he set himself a few performance goals that he wanted to achieve today. He set himself a personal best target, and of course that's a lot of what Time Attack is beating yourself, is excelling yourself, and just trying to push yourself as a driver and your machine further than you have done in the past. You're not only fighting your competitors, you're also fighting to improve yourself. And Eden Young there, coming to Alton Park, having set himself some big targets. It'll be great to see if he manages to hit those. There's the RX-7 then, just ahead of Eden Young. You can see Eden in the background. In the foreground is Mark Spence in the Silver Fern Performance Mazda RX-7, just allowing Eden Young past. Eden Young then, with his headlights on, telling everybody, get out of my way, I am on a hot lap, and the rules mandating that people do that. And it looks like we might have somebody in the pit lane. Susie, what have you got for us?
I'm down here in the pit lane with Natalie Brooks. So Natalie, how's your day been going today?
Oh, it's been really well. We're knocking seconds off each time, so we're so close to the podium, so close, like 200ths of a second, so gonna push that extra bit.
Yes, I think there's three of you running very close together.
Oh my God, yeah, it's like 200ths of a second, it's nothing, and so frustrating because you're gonna find out where it was, but I think I know where it is in mine, and it's the hairpin. I just can't get around it, and it's frustrating. I'm going really slow. I can't get out of it.
But the car's running well today. You having any problems with the heat out on track?
Yes, we went into limp mode because the transmission was getting too hot. But we've just decided to do 2 cool down laps to 1 warm up lap. Well, 2 cool down laps to 1 warm lap, and then fingers crossed we won't get it again.
So you're having a much better day today than Brands Hatch. I know you're having a few problems there.
Oh my days. Yeah, it was. Oh God, it was issues with the car which was knocking my confidence. I was questioning myself, and then yeah, we've got it all in line. The cats have been moved now, so we've got full power.
Excellent. Well, go out there. Good luck. I hope you do well in the last session. Thanks for talking to us.
Yeah.
Super. Thanks, Susie. Thanks, Natalie. There we go. Really interesting to see from Natalie herself in the faster BMW M3. And just having to put up with the heat and with such close competition around this very fast circuit. Alto Park presenting, as always, quite a unique challenge. Let's take a look at these comments, because speaking of heat, we've got Ben Neil Robinson, again, Ben Robinson, who is here competing with us, saying, Alexa, your commentary is great, which I absolutely appreciate so much, because it's so hot and the day is so long that I can just feel my brain melting out of my ears, and I'm doing just about all I can to keep it together. So I love hearing that positive feedback. Thank you so much. That keeps me going. I can see entering that competition for the most active fan base, Team Confusion are in with a shout as well. Mark Hickling saying, come on, Little Fusion. Danny James Hunter saying, Team Confusion, go team. And loads of reactions and comments coming in. Thank you very much. Susie, there we go. Susie Wallace doing an interview. They are great. Some more support for Team Confusion. Fala Khalid, hello again, saying, hey, show us more pit lane action. What are the teams doing? Show us the repairs and mods. Well, actually, Fala, we're not doing a great deal of stuff in the pit lane. There's not much to show you. Generally speaking, what you'll see is we'll have a lot of drivers coming in to make tire pressure adjustments. Generally speaking, that's kind of it. Once the session is live, you've only got 20 minutes. There's not much you can do in that time. If you need a significant repair, then you're just not going to manage to do that in that time. So really, all you're going to do, what we see drivers generally doing in the pit lane is coming in for tire pressure tweaks, just to fine-tune that balance of their car. So we're not going to see people in the pit lane really doing a great deal, so there's not much action to show you. You got some pipes, man. Very professional commentary. Thank you very much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Tim Bedford then, here we go. We saw him getting super sideways earlier. Well, there he goes again. He is really riding that slip angle as he comes up and over Deer Leap and concludes his flying lap. Let's see how Tim Bedford does. He is currently running, where is he? There is 8th fastest overall. Does not, there we go, personal best at 145.4, he just set now. Does not go any faster, stays pretty much put where he is with a 145.4. 8th fastest overall, 2nd fastest in Clubman class is Tim Bedford. Again, riding that sideways wave everywhere he goes, but just keeping it tidy enough to perhaps not really require any kind of attention. Yes, he's got a little bit of slip angle going on, but he is in control, and that's how he sets a fast lap. So that is presumably allowed to continue. Michael Birch, then, we can see in that Honda Civic, the takeaway racing machine, he is running 3rd fastest so far in class and overall. Pocket Rocket occupying the top 3 positions so far. Pocket Rocket really the class to watch here, as has often been the case in Time Attack since the class was introduced. Michael Birch coming into Island, bit of a luck up there, easily done. Every single time we look at Island Bend, we see something there going out of shape. It's a really tricky corner to get right, just because it's so bumpy. That braking zone is super bumpy and it's downhill, and that really throws the balance of your car all over the place. And I think we might have something in the pit lane. Susie, what have you got for us?
I'm down here in the pits with Darren Spooner. So Darren, how's your day going today?
It's good, yeah. We've made some changes to the car, so times are back to our personal best, kind of knocking around that sort of time. So we think we've got, well, the data's showing another half second in the car at the moment, so we're hoping to be able to do that in the final in 10-15 minutes time.
And no problems with heat out there on track today?
Absolutely nothing, no. We're still running the front of the car taped up, so it's still a bit cold. So we're quite fortunate that the car runs so cold. We can run full power, full speed, full throttle for huge stints of time without any issues. So we're very fortunate for that.
So is that what the tape on the front of the car is for?
Yeah, it's to stop air, and we're taping up the radiator, so it just creates a bit more temperature. If we let the engine drop below 60 degrees, it runs onto cold start, which then just gives all kinds of throttle response problems. So we've got to keep it in its temperature range.
You're not suffering yourself in the car? It's quite warm out there.
Yeah, I'm suffering quite badly. Yeah, we've got a very small window on the driver's side, and that's it. So it is hard work today. Just got to keep hydrated.
But no problems. How are the tyres performing out there?
Good, yeah. So we switched on to Nankang AR1s today. So we put some 245s on the car. First event for about 4 years off the Trofeos. Now Pirelli have ceased manufacture of that size. So massive learning curve. Some issues with them falling off quite quickly. But we'll get that dialed out with suspension and tracking and things over the next couple of weeks. But all in all, to be back onto personal best pace with brand new tyres and a hell of a lot of changes, I'm pretty happy, to be honest.
Yeah, that's amazing. Well, good luck out there in the final session.
Thank you very much. All the best.
Thank you.
Do you know Darren Spooner? I didn't realize that was Darren Spooner because he's got this SRD branded overalls, which are looking really new and quite jazzy. SRD being Spooks Racing Development. I'm not too sure what that is, actually. I'm quite intrigued. I might go and look that up afterwards. I'm interested to see what Darren Spooner is now getting involved in. He is a man of many talents. I can see, just taking a look at these comments, Fala Khalid saying professional commentary, and Tom Durman coming back saying, no, it isn't. I've got an open mind. I appreciate feedback, good and bad. Thank you very much for getting involved either way. Mark Hickling adding in there the confusion of the fusion of Team Confusion, which is, yep, I think really that the Team Confusion fan base is in there with a shout, actually, of out-fanning the GizFab fan base, because they are really getting stuck in now. Ben Robertson saying, come on, Team Confusion. Anyway, let's go. 3 minutes and 3/4 of this session remaining. That 3/4 of a minute makes every bit of difference. Every second counts here in the final, because this is our driver's last chance, really, to set those final couple of hot laps that will win them those. Here we go. Hang on, the checkered flag's just come out. So potentially, don't know what happened with the timing screens there. Looked like we were running to a 20-minute session. Perhaps that's actually running to a 15-minute session and the timing screens weren't updated. Who knows? So actually the checkered flag has now come out. So we've got a surprise, early finish, surprise for me at least, and for the TV colleague sat next to me. The TSL timing screens did have this down as 20 minutes if you were following along on home, but actually I think the session's been called at 15 minutes. I can only explain it that way. So let's have a look then at our finishing order. Bearing in mind, this is the final. So this is where the drivers score those points. So fastest then is Andrew Keim in that Citroen Saxo with a 136.5. Yeah, no, look, that is the check. I mean, the checkered flag is out. So yeah, that's it. These times are what they are. So Andrew Keim then fastest of all, flying that flag for Pocket Rocket with a 136.5. Ahead of Paul Waddington then in the Team Confusion machine, second fastest in Pocket Rocket, second fastest overall with a 138.6. Then we have Michael Birch in that Honda Civic with a 139.0. So those top three Pocket Rocket drivers trading places, trading blows all session. That final was really just between those three drivers in a league of their own in Pocket Rocket. So Michael Birch then third in that little fight with a 139.0. Chris Butcher then fourth overall, first fastest in Clubman Plus with that Lexus ISF with a 1 minute 39.0. Andrew Hawes in the Mini Challenge 210, fifth overall, first fastest in Clubman Class with a 143.0. Tim Badford there, the Drift King, in that Mazda RX-8, sixth overall, second fastest in Clubman with a 143.9. Tim Moon in that, hang on a sec. Tom Moon, sorry, in that Subaru Impreza wagon, the Aggravation racing machine. And there we go then. Tom Moon, 7th fastest overall, 2nd fastest in Clubman Plus in that Subaru Impreza. 8th fastest overall and 4th fastest in Pocket Rocket is the number 955 machine of Michael Hume in the Renault Sport Clio 182. Then 9th fastest overall and 5th fastest in Pocket Rocket is another Renault Clio, this of Steve Wilkinson, a slightly newer shape machine. Then we have Eden Young making the top 10, 6th fastest in Pocket Rocket with the Nissan Micra K11 GizFab machine with a 149.6. Then we have some of our classics up next. We have Thomas Mosley in the Rover Mini, 11th fastest overall, fastest in Classic and Retro with a 151.9. Then we have the number 60 machine of Clive Hopwell, the MMT Performance Mini R58 Cooper S. By the way, guys, speaking of MMT Performance, if you are here at Tunerfest North, absolutely go to the MMT Performance stand. If that's still here, you can get your car remapped right now, today, if the stand is still there. I don't actually know this information. But I know they were here supporting us at Tunerfest North earlier today, so absolutely go and swing by MMT Performance if they're still here. Then we have Antonio Giovinazzo, lucky number 13, 13th fastest overall, 2nd fastest in Classic and Retro, an absolute time attack icon with a 2-minute 01.9 second lap. That's the last of our timed hot laps for this session. And of course, that is it for our Clubman Plus, Pocket Rocket, and Classic and Retro classes. And so the Mazda RX-8 of Mark Spence and the Mini R58 Cooper S Coupe of Nicholas Stott not having set a lap in the final here. Our club cars are getting ready to go out on track. Meanwhile, we've got Susie in the pit lane. What have you got for us?
I'm down here with Andrew Barber. So Andrew, you've had a bit of drama today, haven't you?
Just welcome to the Evo world. Yeah, it's been challenging. Of course, it's a beautiful day, but not so good for the car. Everything overheats. We've had a few little niggles, but we've managed to just work our way through it. We managed to make a patch-up job for qualifying. Thankfully, it held. So I managed to get one quick lap in, which was enough to win the session. So I was happy with that. After the problems we had in the morning, it was deserved. So yeah.
So, and then everything fixed now? Are you hoping to get back out there, or have you still got issues?
The only problem I have now is it's been a problem for the whole race, but I knew before I came, with the coronavirus, with everything else being late, there's been a shortage in tyres. So I ordered tyres from Pirelli a few weeks ago, and they're still not here, annoyingly, so I've only got soft tyres for this round. And of course the track temperatures are well above the 40s today. So I'm literally only getting 2 laps at the most, and the first lap is to be like a really cool one, and then one kind of on it lap, and then they just go completely off.
So it's really proving a challenge out there to manage your tyres.
And it's difficult and all, because obviously there's 25 cars or so in circuit, and then if you do happen to get held up or in the way of someone, you don't have a limitation to go any further, you know, so it's making it even more harder, yeah. But the main problem I had just before qualifying, we had a crack around, we had an oil leak down around about the top of the inlet manifold, so we had to get that re-welded. And we just made a patch-up job, and then we've got to re-weld it now, so hopefully, fingers crossed, I can get it screwed right up and see what I can do for one lap. That's about all I can do. So.
Excellent. Well then, hopefully your tyres stay good for those as well.
Well, it's just, like I say, on low boost on 1.5 bar, 6 bar, it was literally an outlap in 1 lap, so now we're going to screw it up to high boost, so it's probably going to be very limited what I'm going to do. So just want to have a shot of it, because we've rebuilt the car the last year or two now, so it's just starting to come together. So all these little wee niggly problems, which I knew I was going to have, are just starting to clear up now. So I had quite a good session that last session, just to have to drive the car without anything happening, so that was good. But it's just a limitation with the tyres, so I don't know how much it's got to be a problem in high boost. Obviously you're going a lot quicker. You can't stop the same, and then once they go off the cliff, that's them. So we'll just have to wait and see how we go.
Yeah, you did a good lap in qualifying though, so hopefully just one more, if you can pull one more out.
Well, that's it, yeah. So we're doing well. We had good rounds at Brands, and we're doing here. So this is my favourite circuit. I've got a lot of good memories from here. Started racing here 2011 in time attack, so I just like this circuit. It's my style of circuit, and I can set the car up quite well for here. So yeah, just fingers crossed it goes well in the final. We can see what it can do.
Brilliant. Fingers crossed for you. Hope it goes well.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
Thanks, guys. Meanwhile, the club session has now gotten underway. Just taking a look through the comments that you've been leaving. I've got Tom Jewell there saying, come on, Thieker, Kevin Thieker, pull your finger out. Tom Jewell of this parish, a familiar name to those who followed Time Attack for a while. So Tom Jewell there. Good to still have you here with us. If you're not driving, then at least you're watching. I do appreciate that. Thank you very much. And Tom Jewell, yep, Tom Jewell, we've done that. Emma Young, brilliant. Eden Young, well done. Gizfab. So again, that match between the Team Confusion and Team Gizfab, just trying to out-fan each other on these comments. Love to see it. And yeah, here we go. So let's just take a look at what's happening then in our club session. David Dyson straight on the pace. I think, if I remember correctly, he was the fastest here in qualifying, and he is going to look to repeat that in the final. All right, David Dyson there. Looking at the wrong screen, never mind. Here we go, Sean Amara in the Hyundai Integra DC2. Up and over Deer Leap he comes. Sean Amara in that Delano-built 145 Honda Integra Type R DC2 chassis. Meanwhile, Samuel Pickering displaces David Dyson from that top spot, going fastest of anyone with a 133.4. Very fast time indeed there from Samuel Pickering in that homebrew, home-built. Ross Walker getting a little bit of a slide on. You can really tell this is a guy who's pushing hard in that BMW M4, catches that beautifully. This is a very, very fast car indeed. Of course, full of technology, full of grip. And you'd think perhaps one that wouldn't be getting sideways, but of course BMW didn't account for the Ross Walker factor, who pushes that car more than most. Meanwhile, Tourist Luxurious getting crossed up coming into Island Bend. Again, one of those corners that drivers get wrong so often. It's just such a treacherous braking zone, so easy to lock up or spin coming into there. And Arturus Luxurious then just on the wrong side of Lady Luck coming into there, managing to get a big lockup. Manages to keep it together without really any kind of consequence other than lost time. And lost time is, of course, a big consequence in the final, because every second counts, every lap counts. You know, we're not going to see drivers doing hot lap, cold lap, hot lap, cold lap, hot lap, cold lap, and so on, because really they're going to be keen to try to get in as many hot laps as they can. And when you're a driver and that hot mist, that red mist descends, you sometimes throw caution to the wind. And here we go, David Dyson then doing exactly that, going fastest of all this session with a 132.5. So that battle between David Dyson and Samuel Pickering then resumes in cars that are really quite different. Of course, they are in different classes, so both of them are leading their respective classes. David Dyson leading Club 2-wheel drive and Samuel Pickering leading Club 4-wheel drive. But, of course, at the back of their minds, not only do these drivers want to lead their class, but they know that if they can lead the session overall, that little ego factor comes in, and actually, that's what they want to do. So we're going to see this fight hopefully continue between David Dyson and Samuel Pickering because of course they could just relax now, having set the fastest time in their respective classes. But I suspect we're going to see a little bit more from these guys as the session progresses. Ross Walker there in the number 5 BMW M4. We've seen him in all kinds of BMW machinery over the years. He absolutely loves these M chassis. And he's in the fight there as well. So Club 2-wheel drive, as ever, a hotly contested class in which we've got David Dyson leading from Johnny Fletcher, leading from Ross Walker. Those are our top 3 in Club 2-wheel drive. And they are, let's see, there's 2.5 seconds between them. So perhaps not as much of a close fight as we might want to see, but we do have half of this session still remaining. We might see some drivers pull out that extra magic little dust and go faster still, find that extra ounce of commitment, maybe have that mental breakthrough they need. There we go, Ross Walker. Ross Walker going very, very quickly indeed, hot on the heels of that little Westfield Megabusa. Here we go, past Alton Lake they come. Ross Walker then right on the tail of the Westfield, both with their headlights on, both on hot laps, and neither needing to yield track position to the other. Them's the rules. So these drivers are just gonna have to sort it out amongst themselves. If Ross Walker is on a faster lap and he wants to make his way past, chances are he's gonna have to just make his way past. He will not be just waved through, because actually there is no obligation to do so on the part of Steve Arkley in that Merside horsepower Westfield Megabusa. And you can just see how planted that car is coming through there. Not even perhaps using the full width of the track. So perhaps it's got a little bit more speed in there, but you can just see that sheer mechanical grip. And of course, a lot of that comes from how light that car is. If you look extra close, you'll see it's also generating a fair bit of downforce, more so than we're perhaps used to seeing from little kit cars like this. It's got aero on the front, aero on the back. So of course, not only is it super light and it's got super sticky tires, it is also producing a degree of aerodynamics. So it's got a lot of grip, this little thing. And you can just look at it, you can see there's no movement there at all, no slip, it is just planted. Meanwhile, Ross Walker then having fallen back, either perhaps to give himself a little bit of room or perhaps to go into the pit lane. And there's Mike Butler then in that BMW M3, the older chassis when the two-door was still called an M3, going around the Audi TT RS of Sean Wheatley. Here we go. Oh, what's going on? So we wanted to see some pit lane shots. Here we go then. Here are some pit lane shots. Eat your heart out, Fala Khalid. Here you go. As I did say, though, there isn't very much that happens in the pit lane, so not a great deal to show you there. But anyway, so Andy Stockton then back for Alton Park as a single round entry in that Vauxhall Astra estate. Headlights on, but giving way there to Hayden King in the number 444 Seat Leon. Let's take a look at the running order then so far. David Dyson currently leads with 132.5. First fastest overall and fastest in class as well. Samuel Pickering in the Super Impreza Type RA. Second fastest overall, first fastest in class. Then we have Mike Butler in that BMW M3, having found a lot of pace. He is second fastest in class with a 134.5. Again, those of you watching along at home, if you want to see all the data live as it comes up, please absolutely consider going onto TSL timing, Tango Sierra Lima timing, and you can get the data live as I can see it as well. I think we have an interview in the pit lane. Susie, what have you got for us?
I'm down here with Chris Bishop, so congratulations, Chris, you placed first in your class.
I did, thank you, yes. It's been a hot day for everybody involved, but yeah, we've made it through and got first in class, so happy, very happy again.
How's the car been? Have you had any problems managing the temperatures? Or?
I do, yes. So oil temperature starts climbing after about 2 laps. Brakes, the fluid has boiled on me in the past, so I'm very aware of that and what can happen, so I've been doing 3 laps, cool down lap, 3 laps, and so on. So it works out about halfway through the stint I've been having a rest lap. So it gives me time to cool down as well.
But you still have the full interior, right? You still got the aircon?
Yeah, don't tell everybody that, but yeah, so I got the aircon, so in the pits lane while waiting, you know, it can be a little wait, and it's very nice to have that aircon, so lifting the sleeve, getting it up there, yeah, it's very nice, and I feel sorry for people when they're having to flap the doors, so. But the car's a progression, so the one step is going to be aircon out, won't it, at one point, you know, if you're chasing every split second. So.
And yours is still completely road legal, right? So you're going to drive it home like that with your aircon on?
Yep, I'm driving it home tonight, so yeah. Like I said last time, I did trailer it and stuff, and it just was a bit of a faff that was necessary, so yeah.
Excellent. Well, yeah, congratulations on the podium. Yeah, it's good to have you back. Hope you enjoyed the day.
Oh, of course, yeah. And this is my local track. So, Brands last time I had a 5-hour journey back, which after a tiring day is a long day. So 40 minutes today. So, yeah.
40 minutes with your aircon on as well.
Yeah.
We're very jealous. No, congratulations.
Thank you, Susie. Cheers. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys. Chris Butcher there in that Lexus ISF and Clubman Plus class. Absolute icon, in my opinion. True legend. You know, drives his car to time attack, smashes out a time attack, and then drives it home. A largely standard Lexus ISF with a few little mild go faster bits. Absolutely love it. On the comments then, great driving there, Russ Walker, says Damian Bradley. Josh Bailey says, come on, Chrissy in the old school GC8. Absolutely. Fala Khalid saying, ask this man to sing the sea shanty. Trust me, you don't want to hear me sing. That's just going to be a bad time for all involved. Philip Montgomery saying, what is that accent? Followed by, I think, a wincing face. Perhaps not a huge fan of it. There's not much I can do about that. In terms of where the accent is from, well, I'm just an international man of mystery. I'm not going to divulge any more than that. Natalie Brooks then coming off the track. Whereabouts is that? Oh, wow, okay. So there we go. She rejoins just after she gets passed by. Ah, here we go. So I'm just taking a look at a replay there. I've got another video stream here with a bit of a delay. And you can see what the TT perhaps overshooting its braking and having to take a bit of an escape road. Perhaps Natalie Brooks saw this all happening in her rearview mirror and tried to take some avoiding action as well. So perhaps that's actually a really good bit of a situational awareness, a good bit of racecraft there from Natalie Brooks. Potentially. I didn't see the whole incident as it unfolded. Anyway, here's Kevin Thieker in the 888 Vauxhall Astra GSI. 888, of course, being a historic reference to Vauxhall racing history, and Kevin Thieker having been in time attack for quite a while now in this now iconic Mark IV Vauxhall Astra GSI. Through the chicane he comes, and you could just see him making his way around that Westfield Megabusa. Megabusa. What a great name. I know I said I wouldn't do it again, but I had to. Megabusa. Who names their car that? That's absolutely incredible. Love it. Kevin Thieker there making his way around that Megabusa. Now through the high-speed section. Looks like he's just coming through Druids now, perhaps. Warwick Bridge. Here we go. And you can just see from this camera shot how uneven this circuit is. So trying to keep your foot planted through here when your car's bouncing around all over the place is a real challenge. If you've driven Alton Park, you will understand how challenging this circuit is. In my opinion, it's probably one of the most challenging circuits in the UK. Just because to have any kind of success here, you need to be going so quickly the whole lap. Your foot is flat on the right hand pedal, the fast pedal, the loud pedal, and the track is doing everything in its power to upset the balance of your car. Really tricky circuit to drive. Checkered flag is out early again. It's pretty hard to read. I think the sessions are shorter basically, but the timing screens again still display the full 20 minutes when the session kicks off. So there we go. Actually, that's the finish of the time attack final. And let's have a look then. David Dyson, fastest of all. So he set the pace in qualifying, and he has repeated that rapid pace again in the final. David Dyson in the 1:44 Porsche 911 GT3 with the fastest lap time of 1:32.5. And behind him then Samuel Pickering in the Super Impreza Type RA with a 1:33.4. So these two drivers actually setting the fastest time in their respective classes and then stopping in the pit lane. And now all of these drivers are going to be heading off to Parc Fermé to make sure that their cars are nice and compliant with all of the rules. I can see a bit of damage on that Porsche 911. Interesting. And yeah, so of course do bear in mind that all of these rules are provisional. They are conditional and on all of these cars passing the Parc Fermé conditions. You know, this is where the scrutineers really look at some aspects of the cars to make sure that they are compliant. So, of course, the rules do determine your finishing results. So these results are provisional. The cars now go into Parc Fermé to get assessed, and then the rules, the standings are confirmed once that is done. Let's have a look then. David Dyson from Samuel Pickering, from Butler, from Fletcher, from Dover, from Walker. Then we have Jonathan Ellsworth. Then we have Neil Greenland, Sean Amara, Chrissy Martin, Andrew York, Arturus Exurius, Kevin Thieker. Then we have Sean Wheatley, Natalie Brooks. Then we have Atkins, Lawrence, Stockton, King, and Arkley in that Westfield Megabusa. It's quickly just rattling through the order. You can see the full details on your screen now. Data provided by TSL Timing. Again, you can get the raw feed. You can get the same timing screens that I have access to on your machine if you want to see everything in detail. So there you go. So that is our club session done. The club final is now in the bag. The cars go into Parc Fermé. The results then get confirmed, and the championship points then get awarded, which is what we are all about. Of course, we're also here to have a good time. But the drivers, Ben Robinson said it best. He is here to win. He is not here to make up the numbers in that Noble M12. You can see that Noble M12 is right at the front of the queue. He is keen to get out first, get out onto that empty track with no traffic in front of him, and set that fast lap again. If I remember correctly, he was fastest in class in qualifying, and he is going to be aiming to be fastest in the final as well, exactly like he said to Natalie. You know, by his own admission, Susie, by his own admission, it was big-headed, perhaps. That's, you know, in his own words. But look, he is here to win. He is here to win. And at the end of the day, if you're competing in motorsport, that's what you do. You know, you arrive to win, to make the podium, and so on. Ben Robinson then at the front of that queue, keen as ever to go out on track and just enjoy some of that clean air and that clean track space. So there you go. Ben Robinson's Noble M12 then. You can see those lime green, fluorescent green gloves eagerly gripping that steering wheel as he heads out on track. There we go, the green flag is out. Phil Reed coming out of the garage in that Nismo GT3. Just behind him then is the other machine, the number 17 car of, where has it gone? Steve Reed, there we go, in the Mitsubishi Evo 8. Do you know, I've never actually known, but I presume these two Reeds are related, especially if they're sharing a garage. Somebody could fill me in. That's a pretty critical piece of information that I have missed out. Here we go, Philip Montgomery then saying I've won him over. Well, thank you very much. Diane Johnston saying, shout out to Zest EU. Better luck next time. Michael Louise there with a, Louise with a little bear emoji. That's pretty cute. Simon Cornish saying, well done, Butler. Mike Butler there in that BMW M3. John Roebuck, all about GR performance. Good luck, boys. Tina Marshall saying, come on, Team Pittman. Matt and Kim Newing. Matt Newing saying, go, go, go. Team JDS, go, go, go. Paul Wright. So there you go. Everyone lining up those comments. Thank you very much. Absolutely get involved. I'm going to be trying to pay a little bit more attention to the actual track action for now, so do apologize if I can't get round to everybody's comment, but I'm sure you'll understand. But by all means, don't let that put you off. Please do get in. please do get stuck in. Come on, Gary Plant, says Claire Gibson there. Gary Plant, of course, in that GR Performance Mitsubishi Evo 5. And here we go then. Phil Reed is perhaps one of the ones to watch. Very, very fast in this GT3 machine. That GT sports car and prototype class machine. Class of 2 today. Phil Reed in the Nissan Nismo and Steve Henson in the Porsche 996 GT3 Cup. There you go, Phil Reed then coming into that treacherous and notorious island bend. Here we go, manages to keep it pretty clean. You can just see it wobbling around and a little bit of a fishtail coming out the other side. So even for a purpose-built race car, even that gets unsettled by island bend. It is truly a real treacherous challenge. Craig Lack saying that Nismo GTR, wow, looks like a weapon. Absolutely. It is such a weapon. I mean, a weapon doesn't even come close. And you could just see even that was moving around a little bit coming into Island Bend. Here we go then, Phil Reed just making himself a little bit of room, working his way through some of the traffic. His headlights are on. He is on a hot lap, green flag being waved, so presumably a section there possibly was under yellows briefly, but they are now back under green flag conditions. Phil Reed then coming up and over Deer Leap and onto the start-finish straight, making his way past the machine of Colin Dorward, I believe that is. Colin Dorward. Oh, we've got a car off the track. That is Andy Hughes, I think, in the number 59 X-Shift Subaru Impreza. You can see it's kind of made an effort to get off the track, but it seems beached somehow. You can see a little bit of a wobble there as the car tried to move, but something's holding it back. Oh, you can see some damage there to that fender, just dangling there. So some kind of impact there, possibly. Red flag is out. Here we go, you can see that Marshall just unrolling that red flag. That car there, the car of Andy Hughes, is not parked in a good spot. So we're gonna need to clear that. I mean, you can see there was one wheel still on the track. Car not moving under its own power. So, yep, that's a bit of an issue. So we're gonna have to red flag that while we get that cleared. Meanwhile then, let's kill some time. I think we've got Susie in the pit lane. What have you got for us?
We're down here with David Dyson, so you just had a really good result. I think you came first in Club 2-Wheel Drive.
Yeah, good result, because I had a really bad weekend at Brands Hatch when we was out last time, so I was pleased with that. So, and it's been tough today, be tough for everybody, because I think when I went out there the temperature was 30 degrees, track temperature will be a lot higher than that. So the tyres, a small operating window, 2 laps to warm up, 2 laps before they go off. So yeah, tricky conditions, but better than it being throwing it down. So.
But I hear that you've had it not so bad inside the car today.
Yeah, I'm probably one of the only cars on the grid that's got air conditioning. So for the sake of a couple of brake horsepower, I've had the air conditioning on all the way round. So that's been sweet.
So I think you've been the most comfortable driver on the grid and now first as well.
Yeah, well, if you're cool, you can concentrate and hit them apexes, can't you? That's
Have you had any issues with the car, with managing the heat, or is it just the tyres?
Yeah, no, it's just been the tyres. I mean, there is a little issue with the car after Brands Hatch, and I was getting a bit of a knocking noise after qualifying, but I can't see what it is, and it didn't seem to be there then. So got another month now to work on it before the Anglesey round, haven't we? So yeah, look after that then.
Okay, well, brilliant. Yeah, great result for you today. Congratulations, and we'll see you at Anglesey.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Susie. Red flag is still out while that car of Andy Hughes gets removed from the track. And actually, on the subject of Subaru Imprezas, you can just see him there, just vibing on the side of the track. On the subject of Subaru Imprezas, especially like classic chassis, I was catching up with Paul Wright in the PW Racing Subaru Impreza P1. A rare machine indeed, and Paul Wright has campaigned that in Time Attack for a little while, and there you go, there's the recovery truck now just about to move that Subaru Impreza out of the way. But Paul Wright, for those of you who do remember that name, might also remember that he used to be a few classes down, actually. So Paul Wright, now having moved into BC Racing Pro 4-wheel drive, now actually runs a slick tire. And as many of you will know, you know, it's not as simple as just take a car and put slick tires on and send it on track, because most road-going chassis, especially when they're 20, 25 years old, they are not ready for that kind of stress. And often you'll see these chassis just rattle and pull themselves to bits. You know, it's almost like, you know, you reach a corner, you turn the steering wheel, and your wheels and tires go one way, and your chassis just carries on straight. So, of course, this is quite a transition from Club 4-wheel drive to BC Racing Pro 4-wheel drive for Paul Wright in that Subaru Impreza P1. So not only is it now running on slicks, which is of course a whole different ball game to running on the treaded Pirelli Trofeo R tire, that also means that all of the chassis has been reinforced in so many ways. So it's got an ultra stiff chassis now and those slick tires. And Paul Wright then, for him, a big challenge this year is just trying to understand and get to grips, literally, with this new slick shod chassis. So he's been used to that car for a while now. You know, he's had that Impreza P1 for as long as I've been involved in Time Attack, and time sure flies because that's been a while. And now, having made that transition to the slick tire, it's like a whole different car. And you're having to unlearn a lot of what you know, especially even all those little muscle memory things. You've got to unlearn all of that and relearn to drive that car on slicks. And I actually feel like perhaps it's an easier transition if you just jump into a whole different platform that's on slicks. But when you spent so much time with one car on a treaded tire, and then you try to drive that same car on slicks, that's a really tricky transition to have to make. So that's Paul Doyle's main challenge this year. He told me that earlier on when we were just having a chat in the pit lane. That's his real challenge for 2021, is wrapping his head around these slicks that are themselves wrapped around those wheels. Red flag still out. We could see the previous, the low loader style recovery truck did have to, for those of you who are fans of trucks, I don't know if there are any maybe children watching who like, you know, diggers and stuff like that. But if you're into that, then the low loading recovery truck wasn't actually suitable for, well, I don't know actually, hang on. So why did they bring out this one? Okay, look, they're bringing out the low loading one now. So I don't really know why the other one was, yeah, I'm gonna have to have some truck fans, some recovery. Are there any professional recovery drivers here? We're gonna need some truck people who can fill us in on the knowledge gaps that I have. There we go, it's being winched back onto the track. You can see that damage to the wide fender, that wide fiberglass fender on the car, as it gets winched back onto the track. Hopefully the wheels aren't all bent out of shape, you know, the steering, and it can just be pulled backwards nice and easy. Who knows? So you can just see that recovery operation underway. Let's have a look at some of these comments then. Joseph Kalea, hello. That's an old school name. I haven't seen this guy in ages. Joseph Kalea there saying, these Subaru machines always slowing the sessions down. Joseph Kalea himself, an absolute Time Attack icon, not only here, but across the world, but at least in Malta, where I think he's from, and he does a lot of Time Attack stuff there as well, and Time Attack stuff over here. Joseph Kalea, who also, if I remember correctly, also drives a Subaru Impreza, hence that like self-deprecating joke about the Subaru Impreza machines always slowing the sessions down. Fala Khalid there getting involved again. Thank you very much for your getting really stuck into the conversation. Sammy, you are breaking the car, triple caution. Amanda Cherry, they're saying, Cherry Racing with a little Scottish flag. Go Ben Robinson again. So Ben Robinson are a super popular guy. And if you've ever spoken to him in real life, you would understand why. He's super cool. Hamish Gibson saying, go Gaz and Stu, up the GR, guys. Absolutely. Go Ben, watching from Belgium. Martin Brown there. Let's have it, Pittman, Cherry, and Dorward. Keep them coming, guys, especially now that there's the red flag out. I need something to discuss. I had the little Paul Wright piece ready. I've rattled through that. Yes, he is now on slicks. There's the story. Give me some comments, give me some questions. Still have two. Joseph Kalea there with a not so humble brag saying, look, I still have 2 records at Alton Park for the guys to beat. So Joseph Kalea being out of the scene for a little while, but still managing to cling on to those records and hold them dearly to his chest is Joseph Kalea. Let's see if anybody manages to beat those today. Who knows? Who knows? Meanwhile, that recovery then, you can see that is now, that car is finally on the bed. It's moving back up and onto the track. The track? The you know, track of the truck. Anyway, what times, Joseph? John Stewart, there's a name that I also remember from Time Attack in the past, so miss attending these events. Hopefully get back at some time in the future. Absolutely, please do, John. Ben keeping the noble spirit high. One could even say that's quite a noble endeavor. Tumbleweed rolls across the screen. Johnny Roos, he accepts the challenge of Joseph Kalea, saying he's just still got 2 records. Someone come and beat my records, guys. I'm too quick. You know what? This stuff was just too boring. I was too quick, so I left, is what I'm going to read into Joseph Kalea's comments. And there we have Johnny Roos accepting that challenge, saying, absolutely, if those are your records, give me those times, bro. Give me those times. I'll fight you for those records. It's all kicking off. 127.9 in club. Oh my God, that is quick. And 128.5 in club pro. So there we go, very quick times indeed. Saves me having to look that up. Thank you, Joseph. So Johnny Roos, if you're up to the fight, you know, step up, bro, step up. There we go, that Andy Hughes' car is now loaded up and moving off the circuit, so we should be able to get the session live again any minute now. You can see these drivers still suited and booted and strapped down into their cars, their seats. They are ready to go. You can even see their headlights are on. Look, those headlights never even came off on Matt Ewing's car. Life for him is just one non-stop hot lap. Even when he's in the pit lane, he's doing a hot lap. So you can just see that eagerness from these drivers here as they are ready to head back out on track. I do wonder whether the timer might be dialed down a little bit, given that we've had quite a long stoppage. And I know I've seen so far that we've been losing a few minutes out of each session so far. For those of you who are watching especially closely, you want to know how a particular driver is doing here in the pro sessions, please do consider going up and onto Google, Bing, Yahoo, whatever, and bringing up those TSL timing screens. They are super, super handy, and they will just convey a whole wealth of knowledge. My favorite is, oh look, it even tells you what the weather is. Look at that, that's cool. I mean, I could just look out of the window, I guess, but that's probably useful for somebody. So there we go, the session is now green again. And here we go. So Matt Ewing then, the number 22 machine, right at the front of that queue. Those headlights never went off. His outlap is already a hot lap. Everyone then filing back onto the circuit. Alton Park, here we go. So the comments here, some of them I won't even read out. But as expected, quite a few drivers taking the bait of Josef Kalea. He's really thrown the fox among the hens with those issuing those challenges. Hopefully that means we'll see another shootout in the near future for some lap records. That's what Time Attack needs. We need that competition. We need that speed. We need those big names back. The more the merrier, right? In fact, we've got a really chunky entry list here at Alta Park. I think it's like in the high 80s in terms of, you know, they're divided up between the 3 sessions, but like 80-something, 87 cars maybe? That is a lot. But let's not have it stop there. Let's just keep going. Josef Kalea, get back here, defend your titles. Those other old guys of Time Attack, look, you want to set some new titles, set some new records, absolutely jump in. Let's just get stuck in, everybody. Just like you can see the drivers on your screens right now getting stuck in. There's quite a little pack there forming. Matt Newing then just at the back of that little queue. And actually, there we go. We've got the Blue Evo just behind him as well. His fellow Phil Reed around then as he comes past Alton Lake. Breaking through that treacherous downhill bumpy braking zone into Island Bend. Just behind him then is the machine of Paul Doyle. And Paul Wright and Paul Doyle, both in Subaru Imprezas. Anyway, the guy I was talking about in the Subaru Impreza P1 is Paul Wright. Hopefully that is what I said. But when you're trying to talk at 1,000 miles an hour, sometimes you get the names mixed up. Some of my colleagues will know. And I did just call this track Cadwell Park. So yeah, just do forgive me. This is just, you know, if you can't accept me at my worst, then you don't deserve me at my best, as the internet posts would have you, as the Karen internet memes would have you believe. That's me. Anyway, here we go. Let's have a look at Ben Robinson then in that Noble. Phil Reed goes fastest of all with a 123.0 with an average speed of 96.47 miles per hour. Very quick around Alta Park today. But let's have a look at Ben Robinson in that Noble M12 in Club Pro 2-wheel drive. Quite a battle developing there between, we've got Ben Robinson, we've got Darren Spooner, we've got Brent Simpson. So it's quite a competitive class there. Ben Robinson using loads of curb on the exit of Island there. Just trying to maximize that grip, trying to straighten out his steering wheel as early as possible, taking a nice, safe, oh, there we go. I said nice, safe line. He's just spun off the track. Oh, dear. There you go, manages to keep it going, keep things tidy, rejoins the track pretty cleanly. So there we go. Ben Robinson doing that wonderful 360. Here we go, then. So let's have a look at some of these all-wheel drive machines. So we've got the number 100 car of Gary Hayward, the AP Tuning Mitsubishi Evo 7 ahead of Phil Reed's car, ahead of Paul Doyle's BC Racing Subaru Impreza, running tail to tail. Phil Reed currently looking significantly faster than, well, everyone else. Paul Doyle is currently second fastest overall, leading Pro Extreme. But even he is 4.4 seconds adrift of Phil Reed in that Nismo GT3. So he is just trying to make his way through that traffic is Phil Reed. And you can see just ahead of him then the car of Gary Hayward, the AP Tuning Mitsubishi Evo 7. Here we go, coming into Island Bend then, a corner where we've seen so many drivers make mistakes. I wouldn't even call them mistakes. I do feel like Island Bend is a bit of a lottery. It's just, it is so uneven and so easy to lose your car there, whether you're locking up and sailing past the braking point, whether you're spinning out, under braking, all kinds of shenanigans happen at Island. But all three of these drivers making it through nice and safe. So here we go, then another pit lane shot. We've got Ben Robinson here just feeding back something to one of his crew. And as promised earlier on to Fala Khalid, not a great deal happens when the drivers come into the pit lane, and you've seen that just now. So Ben Robinson having a chat with one of his crew, perhaps taking a look at the lug nuts, maybe doing some tire pressures, and calling it a day, heading back out on track. 9 minutes of this session remaining. Let's have a look at Steve Henson then, behind Colin Dorward in the 151 machine, that track formula Mitsubishi Evo 9. And the two mean green machines there. I didn't quite understand where that Evo came from. I thought Steve Henson was just behind Colin Dorward there, but that Evo clearly carrying some serious pace. That's the number 57 machine of Stuart Sims, the GR Performance Mitsubishi Evo 6. Roman Grandel then in number 333, just again stopping off in the pit lane, having a chat to his colleagues, to his crew there. Again, not much in the way of work happening there. Oh my goodness, that is quite trafficy there, coming into the chicane at Hislops. A whole bunch of drivers all grouped together. Oh my goodness, look at that. And of course, navigating that traffic, negotiating your way through the field, finding yourself some clean track space, that is all part of the time attack game. If you just wanted to go and set quick lap times on your own, then there are other events that will accommodate you. The whole point of time attack is you're trying to do it while everyone else is trying to do it as well. So of course, finding yourself that track position is key here in time attack. And especially as you move up the classes, you'll find that drivers will even have comms with their teams, telling them about track position, telling them even about telemetry, giving them feedback on their driving, on their lines, on their, their various inputs, and also looking at the map, the live map of where cars are in relation to each other, so that they can work out when to perhaps bring a car into the pit lane to release it onto some free track. So that's really a key part of the time attack challenge. You can see Jeff Kershaw getting caught up in the midst of all of these super speedy guys there. Again, let's have a look at Ireland. Phil Reed keeping it tidy. Little bit of a luck up there from the machine of Paul Doyle, the BC Racing Super Impreza. Everyone else keeping it pretty clean. Let's have a look at some of these lap times then. Phil Reed still leads the field to the 123.0. Behind him then, Gary Hayward in the number 100 Pro 4-wheel drive Mitsubishi Evo 7 with a 126.7. So there we go, 3.6 seconds drift of Phil Reed. Paul Doyle leading Pro Extreme class, third fastest overall with a 127.1 in that Subaru Impreza, the BC Racing machine. And we've got a little bit of a change here. So then we have Ian Pittman setting a personal best, jumping up 4 positions to take 5th overall and first fastest in Club Pro 4-wheel drive is Ian Pittman with a 131.4. Very quick indeed there from Ian Pittman, setting personal bests in all sectors, pretty much all the speed traps as well. So it's a great performance there from Ian Pittman in the closing minutes of this session. We've got, I guess, around a quarter, a third of the session left. So really, now is action time. Now is the time to put in all that knowledge, all that experience from the days running. This is the time to put in those laps. So let's see then. Here's Paul Doyle, again, keeping it pretty tidy through Ireland, as is Gary Hayward in the AP Tuning Mitsubishi Evo 7. There we go. Up the hill they go, and now into the chicane. Hislops. We've seen a few drivers get crossed up here as well. Paul Doyle making his way around the traffic there. Hislops, another corner that's pretty easy to get crossed up in. Again, featuring that tricky downhill bumpy braking zone, but crucially to a speed that's not quite as low, so perhaps the car isn't quite as unsettled. Roman Grandel then, we saw him stopped outside his garage a little while ago, looking like a retirement from him as he's pushed back into the garage. Of course, this isn't racing per se. You don't need to be out for the whole time. So if you set a lap that you're happy with, or even if you set some laps and break down halfway through the session, your result still counts. You don't need to do every single lap and bring the car home. You can actually go out, do one lap, and either be happy with your performance or perhaps, you know, break down or whatever, and your lap time is still going to count. Your result is still going to be classified. So that's a key difference here in Time Attack, is you don't actually need to run the whole session to be classified as a finisher. So let's have a look then at the number 88 machine of Andrew Barber, AKB Racing, Mitsubishi Evo 9. You saw him speaking a little bit earlier to Susie Wallace in the pit lane, again making that huge trip from Scotland every single round of Time Attack, albeit not quite as long a trip here to Alton Park as it is, say, to Brands Hatch, which is just a phenomenal slog. Matt Ewing then in the number 22 machine. Let's see where he is right now. Matt Ewing, 7th fastest overall, 3rd fastest in in Class Pro 4-wheel drive with a 131.6. So actually, a lot of drivers here lapping in the 131s. Super close between those particular guys, but really Phil Reed in a class of his own with a 123.0. Currently in the pits, he's done the lap times. Here we go, we've got a car stopped out on track that looks like perhaps Hislop's. One of those tricky braking zones where you can miss the chicane and need to take the escape route, and that car just stopped out there. And you can see it just rolling to a halt. So perhaps a mechanical failure of some description there for Gary Hayward in that AP tuning machine. There we go, Matt Ewing entering your screens at quite some pace. Really going for it, headlights on, makes his way around Paul Doyle's BC Racing Subaru Impreza. Really throwing that thing around. Again, the checkered flag is out early because reasons. And let's have a look then at our finishing order. Checkered flag is now out. There we go, Matt Ewing then riding past that checkered flag. Let's take a look at our results then. Phil Reed then fastest overall with a 123.0. And then we have Gary Hayward stopped out on track, but actually the fastest in class, 2nd fastest overall with a 126.7, so 3.6 seconds adrift from Phil Reed. Then we have Paul Doyle in that Subaru Impreza with a 127, Andrew Barber with a 128.0, Ian Pittman in the Subaru Impreza Type R with a 130.0, Chris Cherry with a 131.5, Matt Ewing with a 131.6, Ben Robinson with a 131.67, Steve Reed with a 131.7. So as I mentioned, a lot of drivers in these 131s. Then we have, let's take a look, then we have 10th fastest overall and 3rd fastest in class is Gary Plant in that GR Performance Mitsubishi Evo 5. Then we have Colin Dorward in the Track Formula Mitsubishi Evo 9. Darren Spooner, 12th fastest overall, 2nd fastest in Club Pro 2-wheel drive, behind Ben Robinson. So actually Ben Robinson, they're saying to Susie earlier on, he is here to win, and win he has. So great work there for Ben Robinson in that Noble M12. Darren Spooner then 2nd in Club Pro 2-wheel drive, 12th fastest overall. Then we have Bren Simpson in the Nissan Skyline V8, 13th fastest overall, 3rd fastest in class. Then we have Stuart Sims in the Mitsubishi Evo 6, Paul Wright in the Subaru Impreza P1, Steve Henson in the Porsche 996 GT3 Cup, Jeff Kershaw in that Ford Focus, Roman Grandel in the Audi S3, and then Andy Hughes in the Subaru Impreza, not having managed to set a timed lap in this session. There you go, that's the number 57 car. Stuart Sims, GR Performance Mitsubishi Evo 6. There you go, those results on your screen now. Ben Robinson there winning Club Pro two-wheel drive. Great effort there from him in that Noble M12. Again, saying he's going to win and actually then winning is, that's pretty commendable. Club Pro four-wheel drive, Ian Pittman there taking that class win with a 130.0 in the Subaru Impreza Type R. Pro Extreme, Paul Doyle then claiming first place there with a 127.1 in the Subaru Impreza, the BC racing machine. Andy Hughes, as you can see, not actually having set a flying lap. And GT3 sports car and prototype class, Phil Reed there taking that win in class and fastest overall by some margin with a 123.0. So just looking at these comments now as we wrap up the day's coverage. Of course, a big, massive thank you to everybody for getting involved, to the drivers, to the Time Attack crew, to the broadcasting crew, and to you, the viewers, of course, both here in person and viewing online. Thank you so much for getting involved. Thank you for lending us your time and your interest and your comments. You know, this has been great fun engaging with you guys through the comments here, taking your feedback, good and bad, trying to answer some of your questions and just getting involved in some of that banter. Thank you very much. I can see a lot of congratulations coming in for our drivers, for Darren Spooner, for Ben Robinson, for Matt Newing, presumably Ian Pittman perhaps as well. So here we go. Yep, shout out there for the Felix Racing Celica GT4 running in Romoy-Brung. You gotta love a GT4, absolutely love a GT4. Anyway, that wraps it up for today's coverage of Time Attack, the Time Attack Championship. There we go. So, yep, check online for the results, for the confirmed results. Once everything is done, park permit is done, everybody's happy. And yeah, there we go. Thank you very much again for watching. We will be back. When will we be back, actually? Let me just give you that last piece of information, and then I will check out events and tickets. Round 5 is Anglesey. Beautiful circuit. So we will be back at Anglesey on the 8th of August, 2021. So absolutely, thank you. Thank you again for tuning in, for watching trackside and on the streams. And we will see you at Anglesey next month. Goodbye.